Hi, and welcome to this overview of INSEAD's MBA program. My name is Andrew Bueno, and I'm a member of the MBA team based on the Fontainebleau campus in France. During this audio session, I will be covering the main aspects concerning INSEAD's MBA program. Within the small world of top-tier MBA programs, INSEAD is still unique. Over the course of the session, we will be looking at the four main differentiating factors: quality, diversity, careers, and lifelong networks. With almost 60 years of experience, INSEAD today represents a large global learning community with campuses in France, Singapore, and Abu Dhabi. The Fontainebleau campus was established in 1957, the Singapore campus in 2000, and the Abu Dhabi campus in 2007. During your time at INSEAD, you will be able to spend time on our 3 locations in addition to our partner schools in the US and China. Now let's have a closer look at the programs which constitute this learning community. The MBA program currently has about 1,000 students studying across 2 locations in France and Singapore, with the opportunity to study a module on the Abu Dhabi campus. The Global Executive MBA program has several sections across the world, in France, Singapore, Abu Dhabi, and at our partner institution, Tsinghua, in China. A Master's in Finance, with 4 modules in Singapore and 1 in France. An Executive Master in Consulting and Coaching for Change, with 2 sections of 42 participants, running out of the Singapore or Fontainebleau campuses. A PhD program, with a total of 83 students from 33 nationalities are currently enrolled, and an executive education department which provides programs across the world to roughly over 11,000 participants annually. As we mentioned earlier, INSEAD differentiates itself from other top business schools by 4 different areas, the first one being diversity. From the diversity point of view, as an MBA student, you will have the opportunity to interact with students from many different backgrounds, nationalities, and educational origins. The great thing at INSEAD is that everyone is a minority, as almost all nationalities represent less than 10% of the class. Presently, we have 90 nationalities on the full-time MBA program. What we try to do is ensure that there is no dominant culture or nationality in the classroom, which creates for a very open and interactive environment. We also ensure that this diversity is equally represented across both campuses. Once you've decided you want to apply to INSEAD's MBA program, there are 2 important decisions that you'll need to make early on. The first is which intake you want to be part of. As you know, there are 2 intakes to INSEAD's MBA program. The first one starts in January with a graduation date in December, and the second one starts in September with a graduation date in July. Now, there are no differences between the 2 intakes, except for the fact that the January intake has the opportunity to complete an internship during the months of July and August. The second decision you will have to make is which campus you want to start on. When we opened up the campus in Singapore in 2000, we did our very best to ensure that the experience was the same across both locations. The students would be able to move from France to Singapore quite seamlessly without interrupting their academic and social lives. So once you've decided which campus you want to start on, that means that you will spend the first 4 months of your program on that campus. Now you're probably wondering, where does the Abu Dhabi campus come in? Well, when we first opened up the Abu Dhabi campus in 2007, it was primarily dedicated to the executive education programs and our global executive MBA program. Over the last few years, we've looked at developing the offerings on that campus for our full-time MBA students. Today, the offerings include a module for the September intake, where students go there on 3 separate trips over the course of periods 3, 4, and 5, and a field trip for those starting in the January intake. As you can see from the slide up on the screen, INSEAD's MBA program is divided into 5 study periods of 2 months each. During the first portion of the program, you'll be completing core courses. These are the foundations of business, and they are a requirement for all INSEAD's students. In the latter portion of the program, you will be able to take electives. At the moment, we have over 75 electives available to choose from in different areas, such as strategy, entrepreneurship, marketing, organizational behavior are just a few of them. We are condensing 80% of the content of a 2-year program into 10 months. It means that students have to work very hard across the 5 intensive study periods. Now, if you look at the first period, you will see that there are 5 core courses which you will be taking. The core courses meet for 16 sessions of 1.5 hours each, and for those courses, you will have cases to prepare, some group work, and some exams to complete at the end of the period. Once period 1 has ended, you will have about 2 or 3 days of exams, a few days of break, and then period 2 starts up again. Now, they do work as standalone periods, but you will be building onto them as the course progresses. However, a change starts to happen in period 3. This is the time where you will start exchanging campuses. For those of you that will be based in France, you will have the opportunity to move to Singapore, and those in Singapore will be able to move to France. Presently, about 80% of our students exchange between our 2 campuses. When period 4 arrives, you will be able to participate in the off-campus exchanges at our partner institutions, which you have seen earlier in the presentation. At the moment, students can spend 1 period at either Wharton or Kellogg in the US, or a period at CEIBS in Shanghai. Throughout the whole program, you'll only be able to spend a maximum of 1 period in one of our partner schools. Overall, the important thing to keep in mind is that INSEAD's MBA program is a general management MBA. You will not be required to declare a focus or even an emphasis throughout the program. You'll be free to choose and craft and create your own course as you see fit. So that's a very quick look at INSEAD's academic content. As you can well imagine, when you're condensing a traditional 2-year MBA program into 10 months, you will be spending a lot of time studying, working with your group, and yes, even spending time in the library. Classes take place from Monday to Friday and sometimes on weekends for special courses. The motto for our MBA program is work hard, play hard, and we believe that the experience should be a balance of both of these. During your MBA, you will have the opportunity of meeting a lot of people from diverse countries, nationalities, and backgrounds. Over the course of the year, there will be a lot of activities that you'll be able to get involved with in order to establish and create and then nurture what will one day become these lifelong friendships that you've heard of. The activities range from professionally focused clubs, like the Entrepreneurship Club, the INSEAD Women in Business Club, Private Equity Club, or more social activities like rugby, football, volleyball, golfing, and sailing clubs. In addition to that, INSEAD has a unique social activity which takes place about 10 times per year and are called National Weeks. During this time, students of similar nationalities get together and highlight the different aspects of their cultures and countries. All of these activities serve as opportunities to bring our student body closer together. Another differentiating factor about INSEAD is that it offers geographically varied, robust career opportunities to its students after graduation. Now, people choose to do MBAs for varying reasons. You may be thinking to yourself, why would I do an MBA? Or, what am I going to get out of this MBA program? Well, it is important to understand that when you bring together 1,000 people, you're essentially bringing together 1,000 different opinions and reasons for doing an MBA program. Some people choose to do an MBA because they're looking for change. They want to change their job, their geographic location, or maybe even their function. Some people do it to take a break. They have been working for several years and are looking for different opportunities. And others of you may be looking to choose an MBA program as a way to increase your network. Mirroring the academic calendar we just saw, the Career Development Center has put together an intensive 5-period career development calendar for you. The very beginning of the calendar will start with self-assessment workshops. This is where you will be looking at your own strengths and weaknesses, personal characteristics, and expectations for the program. During this time, we will also help you to prepare your primary selling tool, which is your CV. Now, by looking at what is offered in period 1 and 2, keep in mind that you'll be adjusting to a new campus, environment, adjusting to a new work group, and taking quite a heavy academic load. This is why, in the first portion of the program, the activities and workshops that will be offered will be focusing on you and what you want to accomplish with the program. As you gain confidence in the program and in yourself, and as the periods move on, you will see that the activities offered take up speed. During period 3, the career development team will focus on improving your job search skills. They will also show you the importance of the INSEAD Alumni Network and the role it plays in helping individuals with their own career ambitions. Once you've reached period 4 and 5, this is when you will be focusing on and off-campus recruitment. Interviews will be taking place in person, by phone, or even video conference. A lot of work has gone into educating companies about using technology for recruitment purposes, and that it's proven that this is generally an effective way to recruit. We feel it's important that as you spend time on different campuses, to keep in mind your final goal and destination after the program has finished. What part of the world do you want to end up in? Do you have any ideas? If tomorrow you could move to any country in the world for a really interesting position, where would it be? Where would you be living? Well, obviously, together we have to manage those goals and expectations, which is why it's important to be physically located closest to the part of the world that you plan on working in after graduation. But given that this is such a unique feature of the INSEAD MBA, we encourage all students to spend at least one period on the other campus. Now let's have a closer look at the statistics from a recent graduating class. This will give you a better idea as to what people have accomplished after their MBA. Now, as mentioned earlier, people do MBAs for different reasons. But across the board, most people choose to do an MBA to change something, to change some aspect of their life and/or career. As you can see from the figures up on the screen, a lot of changes happen at INSEAD. Just in 1 year, 84% managed to change their sector, function, or geographic location. And can you believe it that 25% managed to change all three? Another factor to consider when looking at top business schools are the global opportunities that are offered after the program. At the moment, we have students going to 64 countries around the world after graduation. The sector choices at INSEAD have changed over the last few years. If we look at pre-2008 figures, the economic climate was then much more stable. At the time, roughly 1/3 of our student body went into the different sectors you can see on your screen: consulting, finance, and corporate. Now you can imagine that when the finance sector took a bit of a hit in 2008 and 9, this heavily impacted most MBA programs, which is why you see today that 34% choose to go to consulting, 17% into finance, which is up 3% from last year, and 49% into corporate sectors. Now you may be wondering, what do we mean by corporate sectors at INSEAD? Well, to be fully honest with you, corporate sectors are pretty much everything that consulting and finance are not. So today, whether it be working at Amazon, our 4th biggest recruiter this year, Google, L'Oréal, Shell, Pfizer, or Siemens, you'll find yourself within the corporate sector. One thing we haven't mentioned thus far is entrepreneurship when it comes to career development choices. Just this year, about 5% of our student body chose to set up their own company after graduation. What's interesting about this figure is that it increases as time goes on. If you look at our alumni statistics 10 years after the program, this number jumps from 5% to about 30%. For those of you choosing to do an MBA to earn more money, and yes, you're probably smiling to yourself saying, "No, that's not me." Let's be honest, it can be a factor for many of you. The annual salaries reported by our most recent graduating class range from 21,000 euros to about 298,000 euros. The average salary is directly correlated to the amount of global opportunities, so be careful as you compare our average salary against other schools, because they may not have graduates going into as many countries as we do. Obviously, salaries will vary widely from industry to industry and country to country, which is why I encourage you to go and download our career statistics available on our website and have a closer look at the diverse geographic locations, sectors, and job functions to get a better idea of the salaries available in those areas. Another differentiating factor about INSEAD is its broad and deep alumni network. This is something important to keep in mind as you are prospecting different MBA programs. We advise our candidates to consider schools that have a strong alumni network in the regions and parts of the world they plan on living in after graduation. Today, There are roughly between 196 and 206 countries in the world, depending on your political views and beliefs. An impressive figure is that INSEAD has at least one alumnus in 171 countries. That's a very important figure for those of you that are planning for international careers that will involve significant amounts of mobility. Now, for those of you saying to yourself, I probably won't be moving to Bhutan or Armenia, fair enough. How many countries do you think we have at least 100 alumni in? Well, before you have the chance to count all the little dots on your screen, INSEAD currently has more than 100 alumni in 46 countries. Having more than 100 alumni in a country means that we have an active alumni association present. These associations work to bring the different members of the INSEAD community together across various types of activities, social and professional. When looking at any given country and looking at the number of MBA alumni in that country, it's always important to double that number to get an idea of how many INSEAD alumni are present in that country across all of our programs. So why so much emphasis on our alumni network? Well, the reality is that 10 to 15 years from now, you'll probably not remember the details of what you studied on the program. You'll most likely retain the important information necessary for everyday professional life. But the most important thing that remains, 5 to 10 years out, are the people that you met and the experiences you had. In the end, such a vast professional network is a great asset to graduates, both during your initial job search, but beyond as you look to further your career and possibly start your own business, or even move countries. The final differentiating factor is quality. We've looked at the program structure, the participants, the exchange opportunities. Now let's look at the quality that our prospective students will bring to the program. In this next section, we are going to discuss the admissions criteria for applying to our program. The admissions criteria to INSEAD's MBA program is divided into 4 sections. Let's look at them in more detail. The first aspect is academic capacity, which is divided into 2 areas. The first being the GMAT, and the second being your prior academic experience. Now, a few notes about the GMAT. We're looking for scores that are in the 70 to 75th percentile and above, and scores that are roughly balanced between the verbal and quantitative sections. The second aspect of academic capacity is your prior university degree and/or master's degree. Here we want to understand what you studied, why did you study it, and what have you done with it. In order to understand this, you will need to provide us with certified or original copies of your diploma and transcripts from all your university and master level studies. The second criterion is leadership potential. Here we're looking for 2 different things: leadership in the personal sense, but also leadership in the professional one. The professional one is easy. I'm sure you're already making up a mental list of different ways you lead in the workplace. It could be leading a budget, on a project, or even a team. Qualifying the personal aspects of leadership can be more difficult. We understand that you're very busy professionals, working hard, and probably do not have much time for personal and social activities. That being said, we'd like to see how you lead in any aspect of your personal life. This could be via sport, a musical organization, political, or other. The third admissions criterion is ability to contribute. This is probably one of the hardest areas to fulfill in the admissions process. Why? Well, here we're looking at who you are as an individual. We're trying to understand what you will contribute to the program as a student, but also as an alumnus from our program one day. We need to understand your goals, dreams, personal objectives, accomplishments, and yes, even your failures. So make sure that as you're filling in the application, what you will be able to contribute to the program as an individual is evident. The fourth and final admissions criterion is international motivation. The key word here is motivation. Some of you may come from very large countries and have had the opportunity to live, work, and even study in the same country. And others of you may have had the opportunity to live in many different countries and travel extensively abroad. Regardless of which category you fall into, we need to understand what your international motivation is. How do you see INSEAD as part of the future? And why? What aspects of our international program interest you? So tell us, where have you lived? Where have you traveled to? Where have you gone on holiday? We want to know it all. We have a healthy sense of curiosity at INSEAD. We want to learn more about you, and the application process, and this aspect of the admissions criteria, is a way to show us. Overall, the key thing is to provide a balance across all 4 admissions criteria, whether it be in your essays, letters of recommendation, or even your interviews. Once you have decided you want to apply to INSEAD, and you pick the intake to which you would like to apply, it's important to understand how the admissions process works. Hopefully you have spent somewhere between 3 to 6 months or more preparing your application. We will do our best to mirror the time and effort put into your application by providing you with a thorough admissions process which lasts about 10 weeks. The first step is to submit your application online. If successful in the first selection, you will be invited to 1 or 2 interviews with INSEAD alumni in your city or country of residence. We're very fortunate to have over 3,000 alumni interviewers globally. Once the interviews are over, your application will be further reviewed by the admissions committee. Now, the admissions committee at INSEAD is solely comprised of faculty and alumni. They will deliberate as to whether or not to extend you an admissions offer. If you want to know more about the admissions deadlines, have a look at our website. There you will find 4 rounds for each intake during which you can apply. Keep in mind, there is no difference which round you apply in. We encourage you to apply when your application is ready, as we accept roughly the same amount of students across all 4 rounds. Another important aspect of your application process is the INSEAD language requirement. Believe it or not, only 22% of our student body have English as their mother tongue. All students joining us need to prove 2 languages to enter the program and a 3rd language to graduate from the program. One of the languages must be fluent English. This is either your mother tongue or proven via a university or master's degree solely taught in that language, or an English language exam. The second is practical knowledge in another language. For those of you for whom English is your mother tongue, you will need to sit for a language exam. You can find further details about the languages that we accept in our language policy available on our website. And for those of you that English is not your mother tongue will count as a second language. Now, everyone, regardless of what your mother tongue is, will need to prove basic knowledge of a 3rd language. Proof of this 3rd language can be provided at any point in time up until graduation day. Now, given that the program is very intense, and as you've already heard, you're going to spend a lot of time studying, socializing, and traveling, we highly encourage you to do your best to meet your exit language requirement before joining us on the program. We understand that embarking on this MBA journey is going to require a large amount of investment on your behalf. Personal investment in terms of time, but also financial investment. An important point to keep in mind when considering our 10-month MBA is that there is a very high return on investment, especially when comparing to a 2-year program, where your tuition fees and living expenses will be much higher. Another advantage of doing a 10-month MBA is the opportunity cost, as you will only be away from your workplace for 10 months. So you won't be losing touch with what is happening in your industry and in business world in general. With this in mind, to help reduce the cost of our program, we presently offer about 3 million euros in scholarships yearly. On average, approximately 200 participants receive a scholarship per year. In addition, over 300,000 euros annually are dedicated to scholarships for women. Scholarships at INSEAD are divided into 2 categories, merit-based and need-based, and will require a separate application process after the admissions application has been submitted. Merit-based scholarships can be divided into categories depending on one's nationality, gender, professional background, and leadership abilities. Those applying to needs-based scholarships will need to demonstrate financial need. If scholarships are a priority for you, then we recommend that you apply within the first 3 rounds, as unfortunately, scholarships are not available in the 4th round. Of course, you can always apply to external scholarships available in your home country or country of residence. Another major source of funding are loans. If you go onto our website, you will find a section called Funding by Country, where you'll find further information about loans available depending on your nationality and country of origin. We also have a loan that caters specifically to admitted students to INSEAD. via an organization called Prodigy Finance. This organization was set up by INSEAD alumni. All admitted students will be able to apply for a loan through Prodigy Finance. The current average loan amount is 37,000 euros. This concludes our MBA program overview. We hope you have found it useful and informative. As you continue to find the MBA program that best fits your needs, we invite you to stay in touch with us. We hope to have the pleasure of meeting you at one of our on or off-campus events. In addition, if you're not able to travel, we invite you to join us online for one of our general or topic-specific information sessions. We recognize that an MBA represents a substantial personal, professional, and financial investment, and everyone here at INSEAD is committed to helping you find the right program for your needs. Should you require more information about INSEAD at any stage, or if you would like us to organize a visit to one of our campuses in France or Singapore, please don't hesitate to contact us. We wish you all the best and good luck with your decision-making process.